Last weekend, I watched Black Widow on Disney Plus, starring Scarlett Johansson. The movie opens with Natasha as a little girl playing across the road with her sister Yelena. Moments into their play, their mother comes and tells them they must head inside for dinner. As they eat, their father comes home and says they must now go on their special mission. Both girls get very upset. They do not want to leave Ohio, but they have no choice. Federal authorities have figured out their family and many others scattered across the US are really secret Soviet agents who have been stealing government secrets and other data. The family hops in their car with a rifle and a few belongings and make their way to an airport where, as they go, there is a shootout and close calls as they turn and crash into military federal vehicles to make their way at whatever cost they can to the airport. They get there, the shootout continues, and the father uses his rifle to distract them while Melina and the girls board the plane. As Melina gets the plane to taxi, she is shot through the windshield into her stomach, and Natasha is forced to take over controls of the plane. Meantime, their father continues to fire at federal authority vehicles, blowing out tires and taking down any troops that have made it out of the vehicles and who are firing upon them. Eventually, they subdue enough that they are able to take off in the plane, all four of them, and they head to Cuba. They land, and their father, who we learn is the Red Guardian, the Soviet Union's version of Captain America. He hands over a diskette containing American secrets and gives it to Dreykov, the head of the Red Room. Meantime, Melina is taken on a stretcher to be taken for medical treatment. Fast forward, and we are at the events after Civil War. Steve Rogers and Natasha are on the run, heading in separate directions. Natasha is sitting in a bathroom watching a live video feed of Ross and his men surrounding and entering the building where she hides. She calls Ross and they have a conversation, and by the time his men bust into the bathroom where she was hiding, Natasha is already gone. She has made it to a ferry and then makes her way to Norway, where she meets Rick Mason, who has obtained a vehicle for her, a trailer, generator, food, and gives her mail. Natasha has no interest in the mail, puts it in the back of the vehicle that Rick brought her, and heads in to settle down in the trailer. Hours later, the generator goes out and Natasha is forced to drive to get more gas for it. As she is driving across the bridge, the vehicle is hit by a missile, which sends her careening towards the edge of the bridge, and the vehicle is literally tipping back and forth as it bursts into flames from impact. Natasha makes it out and comes face to face with the Taskmaster, the Soviet Union's deadliest living weapon, who can copy any fighting style of any opponent the Taskmaster face. Natasha and the Taskmaster fight, and while the Taskmaster is unaware, Natasha finds a package with the red vials inside of it and determines this must be what the Taskmaster is after, hides it on a person. The battle continues, and Taskmaster throws Natasha off the bridge. When Taskmaster goes back to try and find the case with the vials, Taskmaster finds it empty. Meantime, Natasha has swum to shore, checks the vials she hid on her person, finds them intact, and she heads to Budapest. There, she comes face to face with Yelena, her sister, who she's not seen in a few decades. The two fight hand to hand, and just as they're choking each other with a curtain, they call a truce. They talk about the Red Room and go over what happened in Budapest years before when Natasha and Clint swore they had killed Dreykov, the head of the Red Room, and his daughter. Yelena convinces Natasha this was not the case, that Dreykov lived and the Red Room is very much alive, that the reason she sent the package she did with those files was to ultimately bring down the Red Room because the vials contain the cure. And Yelena was exposed to them on a mission with others in the Red Room who were going after a former member who broke free of the chemical mind control that the Red Room forced on each widow to make them living weapons. This person went into a direct fight with Yelena, was stabbed in the stomach, but she manages to break a vial. Unfortunately, she's not aware of the severity of her stomach wound and dies. However, Yelena breaks free of the chemical hypnosis and control. She gathers the vials and she mailed them to Natasha. However, Natasha brought them to Budapest, and now they must forge ahead and try to stop Dreykov and bring down the Red Room once and for all. The first two parts of this movie are very good. However, I felt the third act with the big showdown between Natasha and Dreykov and the sabotaging of the Red Room, which is a flying fortress, and him and the troops trying to escape, and the other Red Widows breaking free because Yelena is able to crack the vials and sit it down in the mist onto all of them. How this all was edited was not well done, and it felt like there was too much hapstance occurring where, oh wow, they're actually alive and they made it onto a plane before Dreykov and his men blew up in their plane when Yelena sabotaged it. It just felt like it could have been edited better. But because of the strength of the first and second acts, I felt this film was not terrible. It was at least good. It could have been better had the third act been edited much better than it was.